text with you?
Yes, Rangana.
Then can we start?
Yes.
Everybody ready?
Bonjour, Rangana.
Yes, please.
Looking for the page.
Okay.
Shall I start?
Kiran will read today, and we are starting from, but when we come to man.
Yes. I'll start, Rangana?
Yes, 741. You can start.
Yes. But when we come to man, we see the whole thing becoming conscious. The world, which he epitomizes, begins in him to reveal to itself its own nature. The higher animal is not the somnambulist, as the very lowest animal forms still mainly or almost are, but it has only a limited waking mind, capable of just what is necessary for its vital existence. In man, the conscious mentality enlarges its wakefulness and, though not at first fully self-conscious, though still conscious only on the surface, can open more and more to his inner and integral being. As in the two lower ascents, there is a heightening of the force of conscious existence to a new power and a new range of subtle activities. There is a transition from vital mind to reflecting and thinking mind. There is developed a higher power of observation and invention, taking up and connecting data, conscious of process and result, a force of imagination and aesthetic creation, a higher, more plastic sensibility, the coordinating and interpreting reason, the values no longer of a reflex or reactive, but of a mastering, understanding, self-detaching intelligence. As in the lower ascents, so here, there is also a widening of the range of consciousness. Man is able to take in more of the world and of himself, as well as to give to this knowledge higher and completer figures of conscious experience. So too, there is here also the third constant element of the ascension. Mind takes up the lower grades and gives to their action and reaction intelligent values. Man has not only like the animal the sense of his body and life, but an intelligent sense, an idea of life, and a conscious and observant perception of body. He takes up to the mental life of the animal as well as the material and bodily, although he loses something in the process. He gives to what he retains a higher value. He has the intelligent sense and the idea of his sensations, emotions, volitions, impulses, mental associations, what was crude stuff of thought and feeling and will, capable only of gross determinations. He turns into the finished work and artistry of these things. For the animal, two things, but in an automatic way, based mainly on a mechanical series of memories and mental associations, accepting quickly or slowly the suggestions of nature, and only awakened to a more conscious personal action, where there is need of close observation and device. It has some first crude stuff of practical reason, but not the formed ideative and reflective faculty. The awakening consciousness in the animal is unskilled primitive artisan of mind. In man it is the skilled craftsman and can become. But this he does not attempt sufficiently. Not only the artist, but master and adept.
Yeah. Big para. Okay. So we'll go through in detail. So the chapter is evolution and the ascent and integration. Integration means that you are including, as you are climbing up, you are including what was below. Okay. So it is not that you reject the lower. So in ascent and integration. And the evolution that we have seen until now, from the inconscient First comes out matter. Even matter has got a certain minimum consciousness is there. Okay? Then after matter comes life, which is slightly more awake and more consciousness. Now Srivya is discussing man's arrival on the scene and how evolution changes. Evolution before man was mechanical and slow. Okay? From when life is coming out of matter, it took millions of years and it is a very slow process and very unconscious and mechanical. But now, and then mechanical also there are two stages. First, plants come out. Then animals come out. Then, now when man comes into the picture, the evolution can become conscious. How? Because he can do yoga and he can rise in consciousness by his own effort. The animal has no such possibility. So, when man comes on the scene in the evolutionary ascent, man's arrival is a crucial turning point. Srindu says that in many places. So now we read each sentence and see what he says. But when we come to man, we see the whole thing becoming conscious. Man becomes fully conscious and he knows that he can progress. And so he tries. The animal has no possibility of progress because it doesn't have a developed mind. We see the whole thing becoming conscious. The world which he epitomizes. Now this is very interesting, you must always keep this in mind. The world which he epitomizes. Man is only a condensation of the universe. Whatever is there in the universe, he has that in him to a certain extent. Okay? There is universal matter. Man has got a body corresponding to that universal matter. It's a small amount of matter which builds his body. Similarly, there is a life force, vitality. Okay? Chit Shakti, that is there in the universe everywhere. The vitality is there, the force is there, lightning, okay, storms. Then there's moving, all the planets are moving. There's tremendous amount of Shakti. And man has got a little bit of that in his vital. So there is this correspondence. One side there is a universe, and the other side, all these universal elements in the universe, matter, life, mind, they enter into the human being, and he is a mini universe. You can say that man is a minimum, mini cosmos, you can say. Man is a mini cosmos. And the cosmos, the universe, is an expanded man, is a dilated man. This is the relation between the two. That's why Saint is using the world which he epitomizes. Epitomize, summarizes. Okay? So, begins in him to reveal to itself its own nature. So now man starts understanding his own nature, which doesn't happen at the animal level. The higher animal is not the somnambulist. What is a somnambulist? Somnambulist is walking but in a sleepy condition. Sleepwalking is a somnambulist, which is that as a very lowest animal form still mainly or almost are. Take the worm and the caterpillar. Okay? They are not aware of themselves at all, but they are moving. So there is no self-consciousness, but they are moving. Somnambulist. But the higher animal is not somnambulist. They start understanding their own existence to a certain extent. They are conscious, not mechanically driven by the forces of nature. The higher animal is not the somnambulist. He does move with a little bit of his own will. The cat and the dog, it is true that they are moved by the nature, universal nature. But there seems to be a will. And if there is a will, then it is conscious. So that's what he's saying about the higher animal. But the higher animal, it has only a limited waking mind. The waking mind in the animal is very limited, capable of just what is necessary for its vital existence. Okay? So, It can't do higher type of thinking, philosophy, logic, all these things are not possible for it. Even religion is not possible for the human being, for the animal. That's why it is this. Now see the style of Swayambhu, comma dash. Okay? So after he writes somnambulist, he is telling you that the lowest animal is somnambulist and the higher animal is not. So lowest animal very clear, as I said, worms, okay, microbes, caterpillars, these are all lower animals. But the higher animals, when you see them acting consciously, cats, dogs, squirrels, even elephants right up to the top, okay, so they are all not somnambulist. They seem to have a will. But the animal, the higher animal, has only a limited waking mind, capable of just what is necessary for his vital existence. So what is necessary for his vital existence? Two things, mainly. Food, sleep, and reproduction. These are essential for its existence. So that much it can do, nothing more than that. In man, the conscious mentality enlarges its wakefulness, and though not at first fully self-conscious, though still conscious only on the surface, can open more and more to his inner and integral being. So there is a difference between animal and man is very clearly stated here. Man becomes conscious of himself. The animal is not conscious of itself. It is conscious only of the universe, the environment. The animal reacts to the environment, but the mind that it has, the vital mind, cannot go into itself. It doesn't have introspection. Man has a level of introspection, although his consciousness is not fully developed, still he can look into himself. He can see when he's angry, he can see when he's hungry, he can see when he's wanting something, he can look into himself. So, now, though not at first fully self-conscious, though still conscious only on the surface, can open more and more to his inner and integral being. As in the two lower essence. Which are the two lower essence? First is matter. And matter is ascending from what? From the inconscient. Matter is coming out of the inconscient. That is the first atom. The second ascent. The second ascent is the life coming out. The third ascent is the mind. There is a heightening of the force of conscious existence to a new power and a new range of subtle activities when life comes in. There is a transition from the vital mind to reflecting and thinking mind. As we have said very often, there are all these things, from the supermind highest to the lowest level, everything is involved and inherent in the inconscient. So when it is coming out, okay, it comes out in this way. That's what Swayambhu is saying. The conscious mentality enlarges, as in the two lower ascents, there is a heightening of the force of conscious existence to a new power and a new range of subtle activities. What is that? Mind. He has told you that there is a vital mind. The animal has a vital mind. We also have a vital mind. But the more prominent part in us is the thinking mind. We use the thinking mind much more. We don't use the vital mind so much. It is a universal nature which forces itself on man and makes him use his vital mind. Desires and all these things come from vital mind. There is a transition from vital mind to reflecting and thinking mind. So you have a physical mind, which is manas. It interprets the senses. You have a vital mind, which makes you aware of life and gives you desires and wanting to satisfy your needs, the animal's needs. And what are those animals' needs? As I said, food, sleep, and sex. These are its demands. and its necessities. Then, in man, there is a transition from vital mind to reflecting and thinking mind. There is developed a higher power of observation and invention. Observation is there in animals to a certain extent, and even invention is there to a certain extent in this sense that it can use existing tools and it invents their use. Okay? Invention is creating something new which the animal can't do, but it can use existing things to satisfy its wants. I'll tell you what, the monkeys use stones to break up nuts. So that is it's not an invention, but it is using existing things to suit its needs. Then the chimpanzee takes a long grass stalk, okay, and puts it into an ant hole and brings out the ants. So it uses. But man invents things which animal can't. The animal doesn't invent, but it uses its imagination to use tools which are already existing in the universe. Now, what does man do? He has the power of observation. Much more detailed observation than the animal. And invention the animal can't. Taking up and connecting data, conscious of process and result, a force of imagination and aesthetic creation. Man can have an imagination and he can even imagine what could be invented. And he also starts aesthetic creation. Aesthetic creations very clearly painting, music, literature, architecture. But animals have none of these. Okay? To a certain extent, you can certainly say that animals have a certain architecture sense because they make nests. Okay? And the beaver also makes a dam for itself. So there is some amount of architecture is possible for the animals, but absolutely minimum. It certainly can't make houses of stone. Okay? But it can make nests and all that. So, animals have no music, no painting, no literature, no architecture. But man has got aesthetic creation. I go to the next phrase. A higher, more plastic sensibility. The sensibility of animal is only practical. But the sensibility of man is to beauty, okay, subtlety, all these things man has got. The coordinating and interpreting reason, there you are. He is saying coordinating and interpreting. The animal does not interpret. It only uses what is available. If fruits are there, nuts are there, it will take and eat. But it can't. Some amount of coordination is possible in the animal also, because it can coordinate its needs. And if you take a crow, for instance, a crow is given some food, it takes the food, eats it, but if there is more, it hides it somewhere. And so, and next day it will go and take it. So that's a coordination with the food and the place where it is cooking the food. So there is a coordination to a certain extent. But man can coordinate very easily. Oh, this happened and therefore this has happened. Okay. For instance, all science is based on coordinating data very clearly and interpreting reasons. You see things and you understand the reasons for it and the results, which the animal can't do. The value is no longer of a reflex and reactive, but of a mastering, understanding, self-detaching intelligence. So, the value is no longer of a reflex or reactive. This is the animal activity. It has a reflex action, okay, or a reactive action. If you think of an animal, when it is attacked, it has a reflex defensive mechanism, or it reacts to the environment. But in man, that action becomes mastering, understanding, self-detaching intelligence. Self-detaching, clear, observing. Observing oneself and observing With calm, cold attitude, you observe what is happening in the world. The animal also observes, but it is involved in the observing. But in man, the observation can be self-detaching. You observe absolutely impartially. You don't get involved in the observation. If an animal sees food, it immediately goes and gets involved in it and takes it. But man has got the capacity to look at it in a detached manner. That's the difference between animal and man. As in the lower essence, again he's talking about the lower essence, from inconscient to matter is the first ascent, and the rise from matter to life. There also there are two. One is the plant and one is the animal. So these are the lower essence. But when it comes to man, it is higher ascent because it's conscious. So I'm reading the sentence again. As in the lower essence, so here there is also a widening of the range of consciousness. The consciousness in animal is narrow, the consciousness in man is much wider. Man is able to take in more of the world and of himself, as well as to give to this knowledge higher and completer figures of conscious experience. So too, there is here also the third constant element of the ascension. What is the third constant element? Mind. Mind is the third. First is matter, second is life, third is mind. So, and it is constant. So I'm saying it is constant. Once it comes up, it doesn't disappear. Mind takes up the lower grades and gives to their action and reaction intelligent values. The animal doesn't do that. It doesn't give intelligent values. What is meant by intelligent values? That which is, this is good for me, that is not good for me. I can use this thing, I cannot use that thing. So these are intelligent values it gives. Man has not only, like the animal, the sense of his body and life, but an intelligent sense, an idea of life, and a conscious and observant perception of body. The animal is not conscious of his body, but the human being is very conscious of his body. That's the reason why he tries to cure his ills. Okay? Medicine, the practice of medicine is not possible for the animal, but it is possible for man because he is observant of his and perceives and sees his body and its defects, and he tries to correct them by medicine. He takes up to the mental life of the animal as well as the material body. Note interestingly that the animal also can cure itself of problems. A carnivore starts suddenly eating grass, okay? But it doesn't do it intelligently, it doesn't do it consciously. It does it mechanically. So the beginning of personal cure of the body is there even at the animal level. But it is mechanical. It is not conscious. Now, man, he takes up to the mental life of the animal as well as material and body. Mental life of the animal as well as the material and bodily life of the animal. Although he loses something in the process, he gives to what he retains a higher value. So man, simply saying that when man comes, some of the possibilities in the animal he loses. So what is that? Very clearly, instinct. The instinct that the animal has, man doesn't have. Why? Because he has got something more conscious, and that is the thinking process. So but instinct is gone. Instinct is very necessary for animals because they don't have a mind. So nature makes the animal do things correctly. Like all these things The migration of birds. The bird knows very unconsciously knows that it has to go south when the winter comes in the north. Okay, so there is migration. So this is all instinct. Man doesn't have that. So man has a mind which is superior, but the instinct capacity is lost. Okay? Although he loses something in the process, he gives to what he retains a higher value. He has an intelligent sense and the idea of his sensations, emotions, volitions, impulses, mental associations. All these things become fully conscious in him. He knows what is all these emotions, sensations, volitions. He can even govern himself with all these things. What was crude stuff of thought and feeling and will in the animal, capable only of gross determinations, he turns into the finished work and artistry of things. So, finished work and artistry of things. So, he is capable of, he has to do invention, he can make tables and chairs and things like that, which the animal can't. But he also does it with artistry. So, the arts come only with man. Music, sculpture, architecture, okay, philosophy, and all these painting, okay, all these things man is capable of. Then, for artistry of things. For the animal too, thinks. But his thinking is very mechanical and very limited. But in an automatic way, based mainly on the mechanical series of memories and mental associations, awaken to a more conscious personal action when there is need of close observation and device. It has some first crude stuff of practical reason. We know that, practical reason. In the animal, many interesting videos are there of testing the intelligence of animals. They make them do things. Okay? For instance, there is a very interesting video of a crow. Okay? The crow is shown that there is food in a glass cover. There is glass cover and there is food inside it. But how can it do that? How can it reach it? So there are other things provided in which you can do. So, or actually the experiment I have forgotten actually, but it's very interesting. The food can be accessed with other tools and the tools are kept on the side. Okay. So the animal takes this and uses the tool to get the food. So there is a certain practical reason, not intelligent reason, not pure reason, but not the formed ideative and reflective faculty. In man we have the ideative faculty and reflection, thinking capacity. No thinking capacity in animal, only practical reason. The waking consciousness in the animal is the unskilled primitive artisan of mind. In man, it is a skilled craftsman and can become, but this he does not attempt sufficiently. Not only the artist, but master and adept. What does the word adept mean? Yeah, expert. An adept is an expert. Okay. Man can become a master and expert also of his subject. So that completes the very big para that we have. It is now, we've got 10, 11 minutes more. So we can read the next one. But here we have to observe two particularities. Surendra is still talking of the advent of man. Okay. So who will read? Sima, you want to read?
Okay, Dada.
Yes, you can read it. But here we have to observe.
But here we have to observe two particularities of this human and at present highest development, which bring us to the heart of the matter. First, this taking up of the lower parts of life reveals itself as a turning downward of the master eye of the secret evolving spirit or of the universal being in the individual from the height to which he has reached on all that now lies below him. A gazing down with the double or twin power of the being's consciousness force, the power of will, the power of knowledge, so as to understand from this new, different and wider range of consciousness and perception and nature, the lower life and its possibilities, and to raise it up, it also to a higher level, to give it higher values, to bring out of its higher potentialities. And this he does because evidently he doesn't intend to kill or destroy it, but delight of existence being his eternal business and a harmony of various strains, not a sweet but monotonous melody, the method of his music. He wishes to include the lower notes also, and by surcharging them with a deeper and finer significance, get more delight out of them than was possible in the cruder formulation. Still, in the end, he lays on them as a condition for his continued acceptance their consent to admit the higher values, and until they do consent, he can deal harshly enough with them, even to trampling them underfoot, which when he is bent on perfection and they are rebellious. And that indeed is the true inmost aim and meaning of ethics, discipline and ascesis, to lessen and tame, purify and prepare to be fit instruments, the vital and physical and lower mental life, so that they may be transformed into notes of the higher mental and eventually the supramental harmony, but not to mutilate and destroy them. Ascent is the first necessity, but an integration is an accompanying intention of the spirit in nature.
Yeah. So, average size para, but he is saying very interesting thing how he is stressing here on the integration part. Okay? Integration does not leave out the lower, but it includes them in his own life. Okay? So, let's see what he says. But here we have to observe two particularities of this human and at present highest development. Man is the highest development at present in the universe. Okay? The animals are below him, and the higher generally not talking of the yogis who are far superior to the normal human being, but mostly they are human beings only. So, two particularities of this when man comes on the scene. What are they? He is now taking, which bring us to the heart of the matter. The first particularity, this taking up of the lower parts of life itself as a turning downward of the master eye of the secret evolving spirit and of the universal being in the individual from the height to which he has reached on all that now lies below him, a gazing down with the double or twin power of the being's conscious force. And what is that twin power? Will and knowledge. Chit and Shakti. Power of will is Shakti. Power of knowledge, Chit. Okay. He can use it and utilize all those things which are below him. He does not reject them. So as to understand from this new, different and wider range of consciousness and perception and nature, the lower life and its possibilities, and to raise it up, it also to a higher level, to give it higher values. So, first of all, man does not neglect the animal. Okay? He has told us about adept and mastery. So he can master the animal. In the animal world, the elephant cannot master the lower forms of or the lion cannot master, but it only coexists with it, and sometimes there is a fight and all that, but it cannot master. Whereas man has the capacity to master the lower elements. He can tame an animal and is using the animal below him. He can also use matter to put it to good use. Okay? He can use, for instance, the best use is water flowing in the river is matter, but he can use it. He looks at it and uses it. He makes a dam and produces electricity, uses irrigation. So man is using the lower forms of the evolutionary ascent. He can use animals, he can use life, he can also use matter for his own benefit. So that's what he's saying. So as to understand from this new, different and wider range of conscious perception and nature, the lower life and its possibilities, and to raise it up. So he is actually improving life in every way. Raise it up. It also to a higher level. Okay? Even the mind also is taking it to a higher level. To give higher values. Okay? To bring out the higher potentialities. Now we will talk about morality, which in the animal the morality is not there. To bring out the higher potentialities. And this he does because evidently he does not intend to kill or to destroy it. He is using it for his own benefit, but not killing or destroying. But delight of existence being his eternal business and a harmony of various strains, not a sweet but monotonous melody, the method of his music, he wishes to include the lower notes also, and by surcharging them with a deeper and finer significance, get more delight out of them than was possible in the cruder formulation. Which is a cruder formulation? The animal. So, animal does enjoy to a certain extent its food and its other things also. Food, sex and all this, it can enjoy. But not consciously, mechanically. It does it. So now, Srimati is using a very interesting image, that of music. He raises the music from very crude music to very subtle and beautiful music. Man uses everything below him. He uses animals, he uses plants, and he uses also matter. Okay? This is what he's saying here. This is evidently he does not intend to kill or destroy, but use. And delight of existence. He can now, that Ananda element which is there also comes into him, and he can use it and enjoy it. Enjoyment is there in animals, but it's mechanical. But in a human being, he enjoys also vitally as well as mentally. He wishes to include the lower notes and by surcharging them with a deeper and finer significance, get more delight out of them than was possible in the cruder formulation. I'll tell you something interesting how Seth is saying about enjoyment. Okay? When you are in a mathematical process, okay, you can prove something to be proved. But you can do that in a very laborious and crude manner, or you can also do it in a very beautiful manner. Okay? So, you can, the element of beauty comes in because Ananda is there. So, a very crude man can make a table. But a man who has got little artistry, he will not make a crude table, but he will add also, he will make different shapes, he will give different shapes to the leg, okay? So he will do all this everything, polish it. So, man is giving higher values to whatever is using in the lower. That's what Swami is saying. Not a sweet but monotonous melody, the method of his music. It's not sweet in the beginning, but he can make it sweet by bringing in the element of enjoyment and ananda. He wishes to include the lower notes also, and by surcharging them. What does it mean? Surcharging them, putting his own ideas in life and matter. Surcharging them with a deeper and finer significance. Get more delight out of them than was possible in the cruder formulation. Definitely the enjoyment in man is much more than the mechanical enjoyment in the animal. Still, in the end, he lays on them as a condition for his continued acceptance, their consent to admit the higher values, and until they do consent, he can deal harshly enough with them even to trampling them underfoot when he is bent on perfection and they are rebellious. Very clearly, he is talking of the taming of animals. Okay. So, if the animal doesn't submit to him, he can trample them and he can deal harshly with them, give punishment. All animals can be trained to become obedient to man by the policy of the, what is called the carrot and the stick. Okay? You give them some benefit. If you do this, you will get a benefit. Every time the animal obeys man, a little food is put into their mouth. That's a way of taming animals. Okay? That's the only way. So, when they are rebellious, we can trample them and harshly deal with them. And that indeed is a true inmost aim and meaning of ethics. So now morality comes in. Discipline and ascesis. Ascesis, tapas, effort, concentration, which animal can't do. But man can do all this. Ethics is morality. What is good, what is bad. Man, he knows also that he should discipline himself and not let his vital run madly and wildly. And ascesis. Ascesis is tapasya. Okay? Ascesis is concentration to achieve something. To lessen and tame. Now note the word lesson. Okay? He is using it as a verb. How interesting. He is teaching. You can substitute the word lesson to teach. So he teaches the animal and tames him and purifies and prepares it for fit instruments, the vital and physical and lower mental life, so that they may be transformed into notes of the higher mental and eventually the supramental harmony. Now note one thing, he is talking of taming animals, but his suggestion here is very clearly also, he has to tame his own vital. Okay? That's very clearly there. Not only animals, but also his own animality. And that indeed is a true inmost aim and meaning of ethics. Tame yourself. Okay? So, discipline and ascesis to lessen and tame, purify and prepare. When you use the word purify and prepare, it becomes very obvious that he is talking of the vital in the man. Okay? You can't purify an animal, but you can purify yourself and prepare to be fit instruments, the vital and physical and lower mental life, so that they may be transformed into notes of a higher mental and eventually the supramental harmony. All this is possible for man, but not for the animal. But not to mutilate and destroy them. Okay? There are yogis who destroy their vital. They kill it. But Shaiva says no, you must not destroy. You must use them and purify them. Ascent is the first necessity. But an integration is an accompanying intention of the spiritual nature. So, we have gone 3 minutes beyond our time, but very clearly he is talking of the taming the vital and going to a higher level. So, ascent certainly you can go, but you must also integrate that which is lower to you. In other words, the suggestion is that there are many who reject the body and the vital. But Shaiva says no. Use the body, use the vital, purify them and use them. Don't reject them. That's the integration. Okay? So, next time we'll go to this downward eye of knowledge. And we'll take that up next time. Okay? So, we have gone past our time.
Okay, thank you, Dada. Au revoir. Au revoir.
Okay.